Some people spend their lives blaming the economy, the government, or their boss. They say the paycheck is too small, that it's impossible to save, and that the system is rigged. But there's another group, quiet, invisible, that earns the same income and somehow builds wealth step by step, not because they got lucky, but because they understood one thing no school ever taught. It's not about how much you earn. It's about what you do with what you have. This truth isn't motivational fluff. It's the foundation of real financial freedom. And it's the same principle that changed Warren Buffett's life. The same one that can change yours, if you're bold enough to apply it. While most people are waiting for more money to start saving, Buffett was investing nickels before he could even drive. Not because he was rich, but because he had a system, a mindset, a method. And it all begins with decision. Are you going to stay a prisoner of your paycheck, or will you start using it as a ladder to financial freedom? Let me pause here just for a second. If this message speaks to you, if you've ever felt like there's more you could do with what you earn, subscribe to this channel and hit like right now, because what comes next might be the turning point you've been waiting for. Let's go deeper. Imagine someone earning minimum wage. No inheritance, no connections, no lucky break. They wake up early, take crowded buses, work long hours, and come home exhausted. Their paycheck barely covers the basics. And then Warren Buffett drops a bomb. Most people stay poor not because they lack money, but because they lack a financial method. It's a slap in the face, but it's true. Schools never taught us how money really works. Society pushes us into debt and consumerism just to look successful. And even the people who raised us with all their love only taught us how to survive, because that's all they knew. But Buffett took a different path. He learned that wealth is built with habits, not luck. He started small, selling gum, delivering newspapers, saving coins like they were diamonds. While others waited for leftovers to invest, he did the opposite. He invested first, even if it was just a few cents. That's the secret no one talks about. While you think this salary is enough, someone else out there is planting seeds of wealth every month, in silence. Most people think money will change their life someday. But it's what you do with money today that decides who you'll become tomorrow. Yes, even on minimum wage, you can build financial freedom. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's discipline, vision, small, consistent decisions repeated every month without fail. That's how Buffett became one of the wealthiest men in history, through method, patience, and relentless focus. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to risk everything. And you definitely don't need to wait for the perfect time. You just need to stop making excuses. This video is for those who are tired, not just of being broke, but of thinking broke, of acting broke, of accepting poverty as a default setting. Each dollar you earn from now on must serve a purpose. No more wasting, no more waiting. Your salary is not something to be ashamed of. It's the raw material from which your future will be built. Now let's talk about the millionaire's mindset. Even if you're earning minimum wage, most people think being rich means expensive cars, designer watches, and luxury vacations. But Warren Buffett, one of the richest men alive, lives in the same house he bought in the 1950s and drives a modest car. He understood something we never learned in school. Money reflects your mindset. If you believe a small paycheck means you're trapped, it becomes your prison. If you believe only the wealthy can invest, you'll never start. If you believe life is only about spending to feel alive, you'll stay broke forever. What did Buffett do differently? Even as a teenager with no real money, he mastered the rarest skill of all, delayed gratification. He didn't need to impress anyone. While his friends bought candy, he bought stocks. While others wasted their earnings, he reinvested his with purpose. He understood that real wealth starts inside, not outside. You can earn a fortune and still be broke if your mind is addicted to consumption, vanity, and instant pleasure. So, how do you start transforming your life with the paycheck you already have? You begin with real financial education. You learn to respect the slow path. True freedom doesn't arrive in a flash. It grows like a tree. You plant, you water, you wait. Each month, you make a small move, a small cut in unnecessary spending, a small deposit into your investment account, a small act of long-term thinking. It won't feel like much at first, but months later, when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. Buffett once said, "Someone sit in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. That tree? You can start planting it right now, even if it's with $5, even if it's with grocery store change, even if no one around you understands what you're doing. You don't need a lot. You need clarity, patience, a mindset that looks to the future while the world is obsessed with now. Before you touch any budget, download any app, or follow any fancy plan, understand this. A millionaire is born first in the mind. If your mind isn't trained in financial intelligence, every paycheck will slip through your fingers. But now you know, and just that awareness puts you years ahead of most. Before we move on to the next part, I'd love to hear from you. What's one belief about money you're ready to let go of today? Leave a comment below. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to read right now. Now that you understand that wealth begins in the mind, let's talk about the first practical action that can change everything. Even for someone living on minimum wage, pay yourself first. It sounds simple, but almost no one does it. Most people do the exact opposite. They get paid, they pay bills, they spend on wants and needs, and then maybe they think about saving what's left. The result? Nothing is ever left. Here's why. Money adapts to your behavior. If you treat your income like it's entirely available for spending, it will vanish. But if you separate a portion before you do anything else, money starts to behave differently. It begins to work for you. This is what Warren Buffett learned early on. He made it automatic, as if that 10% of income never existed. Before spending a dime, he paid his future self every single time. Why does this work so well? Because your brain is a master of excuses. If you wait to see what's left over, you'll always find a reason not to save this month. It was a tight month. There were unexpected bills. I'll save next time. Months become years and nothing changes. But if you flip the script, if you separate before spending, your mind adapts. Saving becomes a financial reflex, a non-negotiable habit. Habits become capital. Capital becomes security. And with time, security becomes freedom. Here's the golden rule. 10% of your income is not yours. It belongs to your future self. If you make minimum wage, separate 10%. If that feels impossible, start with 5%. If even that feels tight, start with $1. The amount is less important than the action, because once you begin, the mindset shifts. Imagine doing this every single month, treating savings as a mandatory bill, with the same seriousness you give to rent or electricity. Over time, you look back and realize that even with a small salary, you've built something real, a buffer, a safety net, a sense of control. The majority says, there's never anything left to save. Buffett never waited for leftovers. He made savings happen because he paid himself first. And something amazing happens after a while. Your body adjusts, your mind reprograms. You learn to live on less, and more than that, you begin to enjoy saving. It becomes a kind of addiction. You start to see results, and those results inspire momentum. It's just like going to the gym. At first, it hurts, but then you start to see transformation, and that transformation motivates you to keep going. With money, it's the same. Even if the amount grows slowly, it becomes a symbol of power, of discipline, of a future you're actively building. There is nothing more powerful than an ordinary person with a low income and a rich mindset. Someone who quietly saves while the world spends recklessly. Someone who doesn't show off now, but in 5 or 10 years becomes a person everyone calls lucky. But it's not luck. It's method. Paying yourself first is like digging a tunnel with your bare hands. At first, all you see is dirt, but you keep going. And then one day, you see light. And you realize that what saved you wasn't your paycheck. It was your system. Let's take this further. What happens after you start saving? Now we unlock the real magic. Small, consistent investments. Think of a seed. Tiny, almost invisible. It fits on the tip of your finger. But if you water it daily with patience and care, it becomes a tree. It provides shade, fruit, shelter, That's exactly what happens with your money when you invest a small amount every month. Even if your income is modest, even if it seems insignificant, even if no one is watching. Warren Buffett built his fortune with one secret weapon: time. He started investing at 11 years old and never stopped. Here's the wild part. The majority of his wealth came after age 60. Why? Because of compound growth. Let's break it down. If someone earning minimum wage sets aside just $100 per month and invests it with an average return of 1% per month, in 10 years, they'll have over $20,000. In 20 years, that amount becomes $70,000 plus. No magic, no risky business, just quiet, boring consistency. You might think that's not life-changing, but it is, especially when you consider three things. The number grows as you increase your contributions. Your investments can be reinvested for compounding growth. You can build new income streams to boost your monthly input. This becomes a snowball effect. It starts small, but as it rolls, it gathers momentum. And the gap between the one who invests $100 per month and the one who invests nothing, it's not $100. It's freedom. It's peace of mind. It's the power of time working for you, not against you. The world is full of people driving new cars with empty bank accounts, wearing designer clothes on maxed out credit, earning big salaries but living in debt. And at the same time, there are people with modest incomes building quiet fortunes in the background. They don't show off on Instagram. They don't need applause. They're not chasing validation. They're building legacy. Let me ask you something important. Have you subscribed yet? You'd be surprised. Most of the people who watch our videos never hit that button. Check now. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you'll be notified whenever we release new content. The next video might be the one that shifts everything for you. Let's wrap this part with something practical. If you want extraordinary results, you don't need to do extraordinary things. You just need to do simple things, consistently. Here's your plan. Set aside a small piece of your income every month. Turn that savings into investment. No skipping. No gambling. Don't chase hot tips. Don't try to time the market. Just be constant. Let time do the heavy lifting. The first month will feel useless. The second, boring. The third, discouraging. But after a year, you look back and see something priceless. Not just in your balance, but in your discipline, in your confidence. Because real wealth isn't about having more. It's about knowing exactly what to do with what you already have. If this part sparks something in you, if you thought of someone who needs to hear this, send them this video. A friend, a sibling, someone who thinks it's impossible to get ahead. It might be the conversation they'll thank you for years from now. At some point, almost everyone asks the same question. If my income is already tight, where is this money supposed to come from? The answer is almost never earn more. It's stop the leaks. Because the truth is simple. Wealth isn't born from how much you earn. It's born from how much you keep. Let's get honest. That daily coffee on the way to work, the subscription you forgot you had, the weekly delivery that adds up to $100 a month, they all seem harmless. But over time, they destroy your financial future quietly. Think of your finances like a bucket. You can try to fill it by working harder. But if the bucket is full of holes, it'll never stay full. Real wealth begins when you learn to plug those holes. Warren Buffett is one of the richest men alive, and he still drinks McDonald's coffee. He lives in the same house he bought decades ago, drives regular cars, not because he can't afford luxury, but because he understands something almost no one does. The real value of money is in what it buys you in freedom, not in appearances. When you spend on things that don't matter, you lose power over the things that do. So here's a shift in thinking. The question is no longer, can I afford this? It's, does this move me closer to freedom or further away? While others seek status, likes, and validation, their money vanishes. And the worst part? It vanishes quietly. You think you're living, but you're just slowly burying your potential. Now imagine someone who lives below their means, who avoids impulse purchases, who chooses simplicity over show. They may not get attention today, but in a few years, they'll have a solid emergency fund, growing investments, and the freedom to decide where they work, when they rest, and how they live. They won't have flashy photos, but they'll have peace. That's the secret of the silent wealthy. They don't want to look rich. They want to own their time, sleep without debt, lie without panic, choose with confidence. And all of it begins with small, intelligent choices. Choices that look insignificant in isolation, but compound into total transformation. Buffett didn't cut back because he was broke. He cut back because he had a vision. He knew exactly where he wanted to go, and he made every habit align with that goal. You don't have to stop living, but you do need to start spending with intention. Every dollar you save with strategy becomes a building block in your wealth. Let me give you an example. If you spend $100 per month on delivery, that's $1,200 per year. Invest that for 10 years at a modest return, and it grows to over $4,000. Now multiply that by a few more habits. Unused streaming services, impulse fashion buys, unnecessary financing fees. The gap between constant debt and growing wealth? It's not in the big moves. It's in these small decisions that no one ever taught you to notice. And here's the best part. You can flip the game. You can start observing your expenses like an investor. It's not about cutting everything. It's about prioritizing what gets you closer to independence. While others drown in debt for pride, you can build wealth in silence, with intelligence, consistency, and focus. Because wealth isn't what shines. It's what grows quietly when no one's watching. And once you've mastered cutting unnecessary spending and investing consistently, you reach the next level, building income beyond your paycheck. Let's be clear, saving and investing are the foundation. But to truly accelerate, you need to generate new sources of income, not by burning yourself out with 2 jobs, but by creating strategic income. Buffett knew this. From a young age, he never relied on one stream. He sold newspapers, rented pinball machines to barbershops, flipped golf balls. He found ways to earn, even when he wasn't physically present. Because wealth isn't just about what you save. It's about what you multiply without constantly trading your time. And you can do the same, starting small. A woman baking cakes on weekends becomes the owner of a thriving bakery. A man selling home-cooked meals at night invests in a bike, delivers faster, and builds a kitchen business. People selling on WhatsApp and Instagram using supplier stock, with no upfront cost, earn commissions and scale from there. What do all these stories have in common? They started with what they had. No perfection, no waiting, just action. And the biggest key? They didn't mix that new money with their main salary. They treated it like growth capital, not shopping money. Because most people blow their bonuses, use their side hustle to splurge, celebrate too soon. The wealthy reinvest. They let that extra money grow. They treat it like a seed, protect it, nurture it, and let it bloom. And that's what creates true freedom. Not just in your bank account, but in your mindset, in your emotions, in your long-term safety. Because security beats status every time. The real problem was never minimum wage. The real problem is spending a lifetime relying only on it, waiting for a miracle, while others are creating options. You can keep complaining, or you can use your talents, your creativity, your evenings, and start building something real. Income streams that grow quietly. No spotlight, no headlines, just stability growing behind the scenes. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to have more time. Start with what you've got. Use the little time you have. Because every dollar you earn outside your salary, used with intention, brings you closer to freedom. 10 years from now, imagine this. You wake up in peace. No alarm, no pressure, no hidden debts. You open your banking app and see passive income flowing in. You see long-term investments compounding. You see wealth that you built, quietly, methodically, with discipline. People once mocked you, called you cheap, said you were unrealistic. Now they ask, how did you do it? And the answer is simple. You didn't wait to have more. You used the little you had with intelligence. You turned habit into assets. You turned routine into a strategy. You built financial freedom, not with luck, but with consistency. Just like Buffett. He wasn't born rich. He just learned early that the key isn't earning more. It's knowing exactly what to do with every cent that comes in. And you can do it too, even if you're starting from scratch. Even if all you have is a low income and a decision. Because real wealth isn't born from noise. It's born from method. Now the decision is yours. Will you stay trapped by your paycheck? Or will you use what you've learned here to flip the script? No one's going to drop money into your account. But you can start planting your financial freedom today. With simple investments. With conscious choices. With clarity. With direction. Because in the end, getting rich isn't about luck. It's not about formulas. It's about courage. About action. About starting before you feel ready. So lift your head. Let go of the failure story. And start. Even if it's slow. Even if it's quiet. Because those who plant freedom today will harvest independence tomorrow. Now, take a moment. Think back on everything you've heard. What resonated most with you? What part will you apply starting today? Leave a comment below and tell us. That one decision to reflect and share might be the first step toward your transformation.